I'd like to reconvene our meeting with student comments. Kelsey and Hannah.
The SGA meeting took place on April 10th. The freshmen discussed the May 2nd Rent a Senior, which will be at 6 p.m., and their combined fundraiser with the sophomore class. It's about Got Shoes, and for every pair of athletic shoes that are in good condition, they will collect $1, and for all other shoes, they will collect 10 cents. The sophomores are having a blanket sale. Contact Ms. Taskin at the LTHS office. They are $30 for one blanket and $50 for two blankets. Juniors are finalizing their prom and working on Kiss a Senior Goodbye. Seniors are getting ready for prom. The next meeting is 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday, May 8th in the lecture hall.
April's Unsung Hero Award recipient is Madison Smith. Madison is a very generous, hardworking, and positive student. She always has a smile on her face and is willing to help others whenever possible. Madison also cares a lot about her schoolwork. As a current member of the STEM Academy, she took on the challenge of also taking AP Environmental Science during her sophomore year. She is not only a huge help with Student Government Association, but she is also involved in Chemistry Club, Interact Club, Winter Track, Varsity Cross Country, and Softball. It is for these reasons that Madison Smith has received the Unsung Hero Award for April. Congratulations, Madison.
Now we'll turn it over to the superintendent, Dr. Clark, for the report of the superintendent.
Thank you, President Giordano. Thank you, and welcome everybody to the April board meeting. And thank you, ladies, for that great information. It's getting close to graduation, right? So we're almost done with comments. Congratulations to Madison. Madison, is your family here tonight with you? All right. Do you want to stand and be recognized? She couldn't do it without all of you. Congratulations to Madison's family. And once again, I want to talk about the fantastic artwork on the cover of tonight's board agenda. So a round of applause to Mary Rapsis, who's in grade 11, for designing the cover of tonight's board agenda. A round of applause to her. And the artist for the superintendent's report is Marissa Ianza. She is also in grade 11 here at Lacey Township High School. Round of applause to her. And I say it every month, and I'm going to say it again. I invite you to the board office. All of the artwork is hanging on the walls and in black frames. It looks absolutely beautiful, so I invite you over to the board office when you get a chance to see all of these student artwork that's there. All right, we have quite a few presentations tonight. I'm going to invite Mr. Brandis up to the podium to present our Seniors of the Month, followed by a very special presentation. I know those students and their families are here with us as well, and we have a brand new edition of the Lacey Minute. So, board, I'm going to ask that you go down. We're going to drop the screen so you can take a look at that.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us again tonight. Again, it's most Memorable part of the night for me, I get to highlight the remarkable things that are taking place at Lacey Township High School. More importantly, the remarkable young individuals that are in our building. So first, I'd like to celebrate the seniors of the month. And first, I'd like to have come up and join me is Riley Christian. Congratulations, Riley. Congratulations to her family as well. Congratulations. We're going to, yes, give him a round of applause. Congratulations. And for a moment, Mr. Lytle is now going to present her remarkable accomplishments. I'm Greg Brandis, principal of Lacey Township High School, and we're here to celebrate April's Senior of the Month. First, we're going to take a look at and celebrate the accomplishments of Riley Christian.
Hi, I'm Riley Christian, and I'm proud to be named April Senior of the Month. I swim and I play tennis, and I'm involved in the National Honor Society.
Riley has an amazing work ethic. She always puts her best effort forth into everything that she does. She comes to class ready to have a conversation, add meaningful thoughts to the discussion, and she's just a pleasure to be around.
I was inducted into the National Honor Society my junior year of high school. And I've swam all 4 years of high school and played tennis for 3 years. I'm definitely going to miss all the great teachers that I've had throughout high school and all my friends as we leave to go to college.
Are you talking about Riley Christian?
I am.
She's amazing.
She is.
She's absolutely fantastic at the French language. She's so talented, and I am convinced that she's going to be president one day.
I hope so.
Me too.
I'm going to Rutgers to study pharmacy, and I'm going to have it's a 6-year program. So yeah, I'll be there for 6 years.
Congratulations, Riley, being Senior of the Month. Next, we'd like to celebrate, and I'd like to have come up Quinn Kearns. If you can join me, Senior of the Month. Congratulations to Quinn and his family as well. This time we're going to watch his video. We're going to celebrate the accomplishments of Quinn Kearns.
Hi, I'm Quinn Kearns. I'm proud to be named April Student of the Month. I was captain of the football and wrestling team, and I was named MVP for football.
When I think of Quinn Kearns, a few words that come to my mind are positive attitude, a work ethic, the ability to deal with adversity, resilience, toughness. I think he uses those assets in his academics as well as his athletics.
What I'm gonna miss? Probably just my coaches and some of the teachers that have helped me and my friends.
Something that stands out the most is just his ability to bounce back from adversity. He trusts the process as far as athletics and wrestling, taking an early loss and then knowing that eventually later in the season you're going to go out and get a win.
Going to Rowan to study chemical engineering. Plan to go there probably for around 5 years, probably get an internship and look for a RA position.
Congratulations again, Quinn. And certainly not least, our vocational student of the month, Carly Buxton. Congratulations. Congratulations to her family as well. Congratulations. We're back, and finally, we're going to celebrate the accomplishments of Carly Buxton, our vocational senior of the month. Let's take a look.
Hello, I'm Carly Buxton, and I'm proud to be named April Senior Student of the Month.
Carly strives always to do her best. She is meticulous with her work, and she really, really is always doing her best.
So I do volleyball and basketball here, and I lettered when I was a freshman in basketball, and I lettered when I was a sophomore in volleyball. My coach has inspired me to do better in the sport always.
I know Carly is in VOTEC for medical assistant, and I know she's probably doing her best there and doing extremely well.
I'm gonna miss all the great teachers that helped me throughout the years.
Oh, Carly, in class one time we were doing some probability with the kids had to shoot a Nerf gun at a board, and she was the only one in the class to get a bullseye, so she got her 5 points. She did great.
One of my future plans are I'm going to be getting certified as a medical assistant through my vocational program, and then after that going to OCC to pursue my nursing career.
Congratulations again to all our seniors of the month. Give them one more round of applause. At this time, we have a special recognition for two remarkable young men, well-rounded individuals. At this time, I'd like to recognize them for earning their Eagle Scout Awards and recognition. At this time, if they can join me up at the podium, Adam Bahushin and Daniel Nad. I'm just going to read a short recommendation I have for them. On behalf of the Lacey Township School District, it is with great honor we present these certificates of recognition. You have spent over 6 years servicing the citizens of Lacey Township and being committed members of the Boy Scouts. The Lacey Township School community congratulates you on earning the honorable ranking of Eagle Scout. Your time and effort, along with members of Troop 26, Adam completing the task of building bat houses around the second and third lake, and Daniel producing a Thanksgiving Day feast for the local food bank and veterans, is a remarkable accomplishment. The Eagle Scout rank is respected because it acknowledges the commitment, dedication, and hard work put in by the Scout. Becoming an Eagle Scout, though difficult, teaches important life lessons and skills. I understand the commitment it takes to earn a recognition of Eagle Scout. My father did so 45 years ago, and he is just as proud now as he was when he earned that rank. So congratulations. Congratulations on your accomplishment in becoming an Eagle Scout, and I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Special recognition also for their families as well. Congratulations to their families. Thank you, board members and Dr. Clark, for allowing me to present tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Brandis, and congratulations once again to all of our seniors of the month, our unsung hero, and to the two gentlemen for earning that rank. That is fantastic. Another round of applause to all of them. All right, so last month we unveiled our very first Lacey Minute. I am so excited to be able to keep this tradition going. Mr. Merman said to me that he almost had too many videos and too many photos. I say no such thing. So unfortunately, it's not a minute, but fortunately, it's a great 2 minutes. So, Mr. Lytle, can you show us April's Lacey Minute, please?
is Shannon Mars from Cedar Creek School. This year, the 4th graders wrote tankas for publication in a national poetry contest. We had 68 students collected, and we all won!
We're here at the St. Francis Inn today. We served over 264 people, and it was a great turnout.
All right. So again, we hope to keep that tradition going, and so I encourage everybody to please send your videos, your photos to the website that we have, the email that we have posted on our website, because it's never enough, and we're looking forward to starting our May Lacey 2 Minutes. So another round of applause to Mr. Merman and his students for getting that together for us. Okay. So a couple more announcements or things that I wanted to talk about. One of them being, I don't know if anybody out there or who's watching had an opportunity to see the high school play this past weekend, me and my girl. I saw it Thursday night and I saw it again on Saturday. Anybody see it? Yeah? Okay. So you understand then how happy I am to say that it was phenomenal. Isn't even it's an understatement. It was outstanding, phenomenal, funny. It was just awesome. And I had asked Mr. Olander if our students could put together a small performance for us, but as you can imagine, 4 days of performing and they are wiped out. Plus the stage isn't available to them. But I want to give them top-notch recognition because they worked incredibly, incredibly hard, and they had a good time. They put together a great show, and they deserve a huge, huge round of applause. So can we give that to them? And I also want to give some recognition to the 3 people that really helped the students put that together, and that was Mr. Olander, Dr. DeVivo, and Mr. Montague. The pit band was amazing. I can't say enough great things, and I'm so proud of them, and I'm looking forward to future productions that the students are going to put together. So it was just fabulous. I also wanted to make an announcement. I know that an automated call went out a few days ago, but we are having an excellent event on Wednesday by a very special guest named Reggie Dobbs. Reggie is from the Youth Alliance. It's going to take place, like I said, this Wednesday. Throughout the day, Reggie and his team are going to be visiting all of these schools, all 6 schools, to deliver his message. And his message is, you can never change your past, but you can change your future. It's a very interactive assembly. We are really looking forward to that. But it doesn't stop just during the day, because what I'm going to do is invite all of our families, all of our parents, all of our students back for an evening assembly where it's going to continue. Again, going to be interactive. So that's going to take place at 7 o'clock. Prior to that happening, we are hosting 2 other events called Parents Who Host Lose the Most. And that is a program that's going to be delivered by the Lacey Township Police Department. It's not a new program for us. We've delivered the program before. It's a very important message.
So the first session is going to run from 5:30 to 6 o'clock, and I'm sorry, I gave the wrong time, but 5:30 to 6 o'clock is the first session for parents who host Lose the Most. The Reggie Dobbs Assembly is going to take place right here in the auditorium from 6 to 7, and then that is going to be followed by a second session on parents who host Lose the Most from 7:15 to 7:45. The whole evening is going to start with a pizza dinner at 5 o'clock in Cafeteria North. The information is posted on our website. There's some really great colorful flyers, and I know that Reggie is going to be bringing his team, so we hope that our parents, our families, and our community members can join us that evening for all three programs. A couple other things I want to say is we have some fantastic raffles that we're doing that night. We have some Wawa gift cards, some TD Bank gift cards. We're also raffling a Nintendo Switch. I always have to think about what it's called. I can't seem to remember, but apparently it's all the rage right now. So we'll be raffling one of those as well. So we hope you'll join us. That was a lot of information about that night, but again, all of it's on our website. All right, changing gears. At last month's board meeting, I made a few comments about the loss of state aid. And it's really important that I reiterate that information by, again, stating a very important fact. The loss of state aid that Governor Murphy signed into law last year is a problem for not just our district, but many. But our district right now is what we're focused on. I hope that many people took my advice and did some homework on S2 being the bill that is responsible for the state aid cuts that we will face over the next year, a travesty that is unprecedented for our school district. I mentioned that last month, that it is a travesty. Again, not just for us, but for many school districts throughout the state. So again, I'm going to say this. If you're angry, you should be. We're angry too. And don't think for 1 second that we're not. So here's what I'm going to urge you to do. And I kind of spoke to this last month, but I'm taking it a step further. Many school districts that are affected by S2 have started a letter writing campaign that I'm going to urge you to become involved in as well. So tomorrow morning, we are going to post a template letter on our website that you can modify and make your own. And I'm also going to be posting some contact information on where you can send those letters. So I'm going to include Senate President Sweeney's contact information, the Commissioner of Education, Rappelette, Governor Murphy, and many others. But I'm also going to ask you to call Governor Murphy. If you have a pen, his phone number is 609-292-6000. I know Regina knows that number well. She's called it many times. But the saying that the squeaky wheel gets the most attention is true. We have to make our voices heard, and we have to make them heard loud and clear. So we have to make those calls, write those letters, and the message has to be that we will not go away without the restoration of funding. So again, that information is going to be posted on our website tomorrow morning, a template of the letter that, again, you can make your own. There is a Senate budget hearing on April 30th. I know that doesn't give us a lot of time, but you can send those letters electronically. You can also tweet messages. I'll be putting that information on our website as well. If you don't have a Twitter account, I'm going to also include a short video on how you can open a Twitter account, and there are many hashtags associated with this fiscal issue that our school district, along with many others, is facing. So again, let's make our voices loud and heard. I'm going to end my comments tonight by saying this. We value our paraprofessionals tremendously. What we have to do is not something we want to do. We have no options because of the fiscal dilemma the state has put us in. And we are following a process that is dictated by the union contract. And finally, I can't say this part enough. Our students always, always come first, which means that students who require paraprofessional assistance as determined by their IEPs will continue to receive those services exactly as they have in the past. Our mindset has been and will continue to always be students first. So once again, congratulations to all of our seniors of the month, Quint, Riley, and Carly. Congratulations to our unsung hero, Madison. And that concludes my comments. Thank you for the opportunity, President Giordano.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. So we're aware that many individuals are here in support of our paraprofessionals this evening. You've heard me say before at other board meetings, and you'll hear me say it again tonight, that this board values our paraprofessionals greatly. Unfortunately, the current state of school funding in New Jersey forces boards of education all across the state, like this one, to make difficult decisions. In order to avoid eliminating positions, this district approached the association with the proposal to provide paraprofessionals with individual health coverage. That proposal was rejected. Therefore, the board must proceed in a manner which is fiscally sound. Otherwise, we will be unable to fulfill our mission of educating our children. Because this is a personnel matter and because of potential legal proceedings by the association, this is the only statement that I or the board will make tonight regarding the matter. Therefore, while the public is free to make public comment, upon the advice of counsel, the board will not be responding to any specific questions or otherwise engage in public discussion. Should I go off script? Probably not. In that regard, I also ask that each speaker be mindful of other individuals who wish to speak this evening and only speak for a reasonable amount of time. With that, I will open the floor for public comment. Please state your name and address. Okay, the mic's got to be turned on.
Get it on. No, they won't be able to hear you.
Thank you. I'm going to try not to get emotional because I am the parent of a special needs student. So I have some questions because I don't understand exactly what's going on. At the last meeting, how much did you state you were going to save by cutting our paraprofessionals? Can you answer that, or is that now off the table? Was it 1.1 million?
1.1 million.
Okay. And the state cutting roughly 600,000, is that correct? For this year?
Can I ask a question to the audience? Does everybody know the amount of state aid being cut from this district over the next 6 years?
That's not my question.
But do you know the number?
We do. And
What's the number?
I'm
just somebody yell it out, please. I need to feel comfortable that you know the number.
Okay.
How much? 4.7 million, thank you.
Okay. So back to my question, which
Okay,
was,
can we please have respect for the young lady and let her speak?
thank you. So my understanding, though, is that this coming year, because of the state cuts, this district is going to lose 600,000, correct? So that shows a difference of 500,000. So where is that 500,000? Is it going to replace the track that you're voting on tonight? Is that where it's going? Just asking. And that's really all that I have, except to say that, with all due respect, Dr. Clark, you are an educator. How can you honestly sit there and say that our students are going to receive the same level of care if you get rid of these paraprofessionals? Out of control.
Okay, so the last time that we all had the pleasure of
I'm
doing
sorry,
this-
can you just state your name, please?
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
Amanda Cranford. I'm on Lakeside Drive South here in Forked River. So the last time we all had the pleasure of doing this, there were a couple definite themes, right? So the first one is that the kids should come first. Everyone seemed to vocalize that in agreement. And the other one that was heavily stressed from this side was that there has to be another way to deal with these budget issues. So we were really assured that you guys had explored all options and that in fact this was the only way. What you had presented was the only option. So, I mean, to be honest, that didn't really sit well. It seemed like there had to be something else. So I've been going over the 80-page budget more times than I would probably like to admit. And the one thing that really sort of stood out was just how much you're actually planning to cut from the special education program. So it's not just the paras. The paras are a huge part of it. But there are also cuts to the Learning and Language Disabilities Program, the Behavioral Disabilities Program, the Resource Room, the Autism Program, the Preschool Disabilities Program, Speech, OT, PT, and other related services. The cuts total, including the paras, $1.8 million from special education. Over $1.8 million. So then I looked at what was going on with the regular program side, the gen ed kids, if you will. So it seems, according to the budget, that those programs are really facing roughly $48,000 in cuts. They are receiving over $738,000 in additional funds, including an additional $106,000 for extracurricular activities, which is pretty interesting because the last time sports came up, extracurriculars came up, and it was mentioned that if you guys cut sports or combine sports, that you would save roughly $100,000. That was the number that was thrown out. But the budget, the detailed budget, that 80-page budget, indicates that you have budgeted over $1.6 million for school-sponsored athletics and extracurriculars. $1.6 million. And not only were there no cuts in that area, but both athletics and extracurricular activities received increases. Significant increases. So I'm not an expert, okay? My background is not this. I went to university for public relations and marketing. So I'm slightly out of my element here, but I can look at numbers and see what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. You know, there are, going over the budget, the one thing that highlighted is that there are significant allocations that are being made for areas that are not essential to providing an education. It's a lot of money that, at the end of the day, nice to have. They can enhance experience, but they are not essential. the things that you are cutting from the special education program, which by the way is mandated, as everyone knows, those things are essential. So it seems to me that perhaps these cuts are being targeted for whatever reason at the special education program. In fact, it seemed as if a case could be made that perhaps these massive cuts, while you are not making any cuts to general education, that the massive cuts that you're making to the special education program could be classified as discriminatory in nature. Again, I am not an attorney. I don't play an attorney on TV, but I have spoken to a few who happen to agree. So, just to give you a heads up, I have filed formal complaints on the basis of discrimination with the Ocean County Office of Education, the Special Education Coordinator, the County Commissioner, the New Jersey Special Education Ombudsman, the New Jersey Commissioner of Education, the U.S. Department of Education Office for Civil Rights, the New Jersey Office of the Attorney General, Division of Civil Rights, both the ACLU and the ACLU New Jersey, Disability Rights New Jersey, and the New Jersey Board of Education Department of Controversy and Dispute. The next step is really to contact the Office of Administrative Law and file a complaint requesting that they investigate the school district systems operation, because it seems as if you guys are tiptoeing around some potential violations. So I was hoping, I was really hoping for a different outcome. I was hoping that you guys would come around and you would place as much value on our special education kids as you do on the rest of the kids in the district, or at least as much value as you place on your football teams. But clearly that hasn't happened, so here we are. So I'm just 1 year into this, okay? So if I don't move anywhere, you guys have, unfortunately, a very long time to deal with me, and I also have a very unfortunately a long time to deal with you. But 1 year, my son's in kindergarten. I've had to fight for every single thing, everything. Now I have a 22-year-old neurotypical daughter who went through a public school system, who I never, not once, had to fight for anything for her. Granted, it wasn't this district, but she went to a small school with a smaller budget than what you have. Her school had no sports teams. They had no extracurriculars. In fact, they didn't even spring for a cafeteria, okay? They let the kids go out into the city and to be on their own for lunch because they wanted to direct all of their funds to education. But I never had to fight for anything. And here I am, year one, and I've had to fight for everything, and I'm telling you that this mom is exhausted. I'm exhausted 1 year in. So I am digging deep, and I know that there is a long journey ahead. And this is important because this is ensuring that these kids have a chance to succeed, and they deserve that. And they have a right to have the same education as everyone else. So for now, and for the next 12 years, hopefully it's not necessary, but if it is, I will fight.
Good evening. My name is Carolyn Herman. I have 2 children at Cedar Creek Elementary School. One of them is going to be registered for kindergarten in the fall, so currently I have 1. Neither one of them are special needs students. However, I'm speaking to you tonight as a parent, and I'm also an educator in another district. My district has decided to privatize in other areas. Custodians were privatized, and just to give you a little bit of information, which I'm sure that you've done your homework, but we have been through 3 head custodians just this past year, and countless other custodians. We've also privatized in the area of substitutes. Substitutes have come into our school Many have been asked not to come back. That's if we can even get substitutes to fill our positions, which I know is also an issue in Lacey. I've had paraprofessionals in my own classroom. On one occasion, I had one of my paras was out for a lengthy period of time, 6 to 8 weeks, because his wife was terminal. In that 6 to 8 weeks, they outsourced through a private company, and there were at least 12 people to cover that position. They would come in, they would sit there and either do nothing, or they would get fed up with the position and leave. I know that our paras are wonderful. I know that you know that. I just encourage you to be creative in some other way. As teachers, we are creative. We have to find ways to motivate our students and get our points across. I encourage you to find some other way to fund this, because it is important. These paraprofessionals that work in our community, in our schools, they're community members. They wave to us when they're walking by Gilly Park. I talk to them when I'm at the baseball field with my son. They're parents. They're invested in our schools. The private companies that will come in are not. And I know that you're saying, that these children are going to get the same level of care, but can you guarantee that? How do you know that? How do you know that the paraprofessionals that you're offering to come back will want to come back? Do they feel valued as employees if they're asking to take a lesser salary or a lesser insurance? Just, how would you feel if somebody put that on you? I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional and I'm kind of off script, but I know that these people are truly dedicated to their jobs, and I know that in private companies, privatization is not always the way. They're not as dedicated to what they do as the paras that are already in here. They are family members of students. They have children in the community. Their children have gone through Lacey schools. They love our kids. There are some of my own family members that I don't trust with the care of my own children, and I trust them in the hands of Lacey teachers, nurses, supervisors, principals every day, and paraprofessionals wrap their arms around my children and love them like they're their own. It is so important to keep these people in our schools.
Hello, my name is Carrie Hodgson. I live in Lacey. I've been a resident of Lacey for 40-something years. I recently retired from being a teacher in this district, where I was a teacher for 35 years. I have 2 children in their 20s who went through the Lacey school system, one being special needs. When I think about the classroom of a special needs child, I look at it from 2 perspectives, one from the teacher point of view and one of a parent. I'm pretty sure that both perspectives are vital when thinking of the success of each individual child and how they reach their full potential. Education these days can be a very challenging thing for the, quote, average student. Now add in the difficulties that special needs children endure, often trying to fit into a world that has pushed itself into being a standardized classroom. It's like taking a square peg and trying to fit it in a round hole. The word inclusion is what everyone says we believe in. Well, I know as a regular ed teacher who always had students from special needs classrooms that it is vital to the success of each student. That doesn't happen without the help of our paraprofessionals. Teachers cannot be everywhere at the same time, especially the special ed teacher who has a class that goes out to multiple places at one time. So what do I see when I think of a paraprofessional? Well, my mind turns to the child. Maybe it's the child who doesn't speak for themselves with their voice, like everyone else does, who has never been part of a homeroom with their age-appropriate peers, who is able to come in with help and be part of a morning circle where everyone greets each other as equals. Or the child, who is very often my own, who just wanted to be like everyone else, but needed a little bit of encouragement and help, whether it be academically or emotionally with the, you can do it. What do I see when I think of a paraprofessional? I see compassion, encouragement, sometimes someone to help you follow the rules. I see a mother that shines when her child does something for the first time. I see a person with another view of a situation or a second pair of eyes. I see an invaluable, let me say that again, invaluable part of a classroom. I can tell you that I can't count the amount of times that my room would never have been able to function as it did without the help of my paras. I've been so fortunate to have worked with some of the best. And when I looked at what they were paid to how they performed, there was no comparison. And from the view of a parent, they were my angels. It's hard enough just to be a parent, the worry you go through wanting your kids to be happy and successful, but put into the mix a child with serious difficulties, and it can be overwhelming. They were the people that allowed me to have a little bit of peace of mind that someone was watching over my sensitive cargo. My daughter, Katie, entered the school system as a preschool handicapped 3-year-old, and she left as a beautiful 21-year-old adult. She grew and she blossomed at her own pace because of all those people who touched her through those years. For those people who made her feel important and special and not different. If you were to ask my daughter about her years in Lacey, she would talk about some of the amazing adults that she encountered. Katie was very lucky to have so many wonderful individuals who followed her through her education. People who knew her and what she needed to be successful. Many of them have continued to be part of her life. Along with the teachers, she would mention people who were, to her, just as invaluable as the teachers themselves. She would mention freely names of paras who sometimes had more of an impact on her than anyone. I truly believe that she wouldn't be who she is today if it wasn't for those individuals, her school family. So the reason I'm up here is a very emotional one. It hits my heart in many ways. I guess it is to tell you that you can't put a price on people. That instead of getting rid of what is an essential part of the school team, you should be giving them raises. That when you remove the hand on a clock, it's not going to tell time accurately. You say that the Lacey School Board has always been for the child. Well, I guess now it's your chance to prove it. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Isabel Heim, and I am a student here in Lacey. My whole life, I have attended schools in this district and have been oblivious to the school board and the decisions they make, because they have never affected me personally, per se. Until now. My mother is a paraprofessional at Mill Pond Elementary School and works with special need preschoolers. My mother is one of the most hardworking people I know and truly cares about the well-being of her students. On one occasion, she proudly claimed that she would risk her life for her students. But she is not the only one. There are hundreds of paraprofessionals just like her in our district, hardworking and often go unnoticed for their work. A bit more than a month ago, the school board comes to the decision that they would fire the majority of the paraprofessionals in the district. Not only am I personally affected by this decision, but my peers are too. Many of my friends are special needs, are in classrooms that have paraprofessionals within them, and would not get the proper care, education, and help they need. To say this decision of firing the majority of paraprofessionals from our school district is foolish would be an understatement. The whole purpose of the school board is to make sure children are getting the proper care and education needed, and if you fire Lacey's paraprofessionals, you would not be fulfilling your duties. You would be failing me, my peers, the paraprofessionals, the teachers, the parents of the students, and most importantly, the future generations to come. There are many ways to fix this problem. Firing hardworking paraprofessionals isn't it. There are other options. You just refuse to look at them. I realize that my voice often seems unheard and drowned in a sea of other opinions and thoughts. I often feel like my thoughts as a student don't matter in this district. It's not up to the students' best interest anymore. It's about money. Although I know this, I've decided to make my voice heard, and I hope the school board and this district will listen.
Good evening. My name is Karen Knapp, 563 Landlac Drive. As a parent and a taxpayer of Lacey Township, I would like to challenge all of you on the Board of Ed to take one day out of your office, put on some comfortable clothes, throw on a pair of sneakers, and walk in the shoes of a paraprofessional for one full day as a substitute would do. In either a special education classroom or a kindergarten classroom as an instructional aide. In kindergarten, see what it's like to teach a math center, an ELA center, wipe noses, comfort a crying child as their teacher is teaching 20 other children, open snacks and juice bags to start snack, get out a lunchbox and clean it out when it's full of an open water bottle, and take care of a crying child because their food is wet. Take a child who feels like they're going to throw up to the nurse running quickly down the hallway with a garbage can under them, or even have throw up on you, or have someone wipe their nose on you. These are all things that we do as paraprofessionals. All these things that are very important at the moment of the need of a 5-year-old, and all things a teacher would have to stop doing as they're teaching without having a paraprofessional in their classroom. Or take an autistic child for a sensory walk as they have a meltdown in the hallway, or maybe have a chair thrown at you, or get hit, kicked, or even bitten by a student. I have witnessed these different situations in our schools. Both of my boys have graduated Lacey Township, but for all the years in Cedar Creek, I witnessed these scenarios as I was a classroom mom. I would suggest to spend one day at Cedar Creek, where the highest population of special ed students, where the paraprofessionals are well needed, as well as kindergarten paraprofessionals. The district has men and women paraprofessional employees and substitutes. Now I'm not saying to observe the classroom teacher, but observe the classroom itself by going in as a substitute and doing the job of a paraprofessional. Maybe you'll get lucky and it'll be a good day, or maybe you'll have to deal with the stress of a classroom because a few children are having an off day. Take the orders from the teacher of what you need to do for the day. I am not putting our teachers on the line here. All of our teachers work very hard and do their job to the fullest 110%. But notice how short-handed the school is on paraprofessionals. I know kindergarten instructional aides get pulled quite often to cover a special ed student where they have no knowledge of the child they are covering, but like a substitute would not have the knowledge either. Going back as a paraprofessional, when a paraprofessional was hired, with only a high school diploma, they did not need a special training and did their job and learned their job and chose to take courses if needed for their position. And substitutes come in and do these jobs without any training or knowledge of a student, as you would be doing. Again, I would like to challenge all of you for one day to take on the job of a paraprofessional. Now, I'm not saying your job is not important, but to get rid of 112 paraprofessionals who need their job, and their students and teachers need them as well. They need their paycheck just as much as you do, but take notice of how hard they work for the small salary they do get. And keep in mind, not all of them have the benefit package. So I invite you, who would like to challenge a classroom as a paraprofessional. Come on, Sean.
So can you hear me? I've been in a special ed classroom on multiple occasions with developmentally disabled kids at the high school level. It was probably one of the most stressful and just craziest days of my life.
Were you there for the full day or
Full,
just?
full day on numerous
Okay.
days, numerous days.
Did you do
When
the job, or
hold,
did
hold
you?
on, let me finish, because you're gonna like my answer in the end. When I got home, I remember breaking down and crying because that's how hard it was for me.
Yeah.
So I
Well-
don't think I sit up here without a heart and don't feel what you guys what we're faced with and what you guys go through every day. But to not ramble on, I'll take you up on your offer and I'll happily do it for a day.
Thank you.
I will also. And I
Thank
have
you.
spent 5 years in the classroom, and I was very grateful every time I had a para in my class.
Thank you. So you'll
I
do
have
both?
been in special ed classes on numerous occasions, and I do
Okay.
remember what it was like, even though it was almost 30 years ago.
Okay, thank you. And I have one last question with all that being said. I was just wondering where the health benefit money that used to pay the staff benefits go to now that they pay into their benefits? Where did the other money go to? Excuse me,
You're gonna need to repeat the
I'm
question.
sorry.
Thank you, Sean.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I have one question. I was wondering where the health benefit money that used to pay staff benefits go to now that they pay their own benefits, well, part of their benefits. Where did that other money go to? The money that the board used to put out, where did that money go to now that the staff is paying for part of their benefits?
So Karen, I'm not sure I completely understand your question, but here's what I'm going to ask you to do, because Mr. Giordano read a statement that we're not going to answer those questions, but
Right.
you know where my office is?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to come see me.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep, thank you.
I'm Brody Sager. I'm another student at Lacey Township Middle School, along with Isabel Heim, and Lauren Lynch-Fimper is also here. I just want to say, first off, people are obviously outraged, right? Most of the people behind me are outraged, right? You're all outraged, right? Yeah. Okay. So they're all outraged. A lot of people in the district that haven't even come tonight are outraged. I'm not just referring to them, though. I'm referring to the students, mainly. Some people may not know exactly how much this decision means to the students in the district. My friends and I talk about this decision a lot because it means more to us than most seem to know. We, as well as the parents, know the most how this will affect the students affected. Their struggles and worries are felt and empathized with throughout the classroom. Furthermore, the students who need paras will start to struggle significantly in the classroom. Many of my peers may be held back to this decision. That is unacceptable. The purpose of a school is to provide not only an education, but a chance at a better future. The decision to get rid of the paras would do the opposite. Now, I wrote a metaphor about this. Schools are institutions built to expand the minds of students, right? Okay. So if education at the school was erased at the high school track, which, by the way, is being repaired and redone for $500,000, roughly $500,000, I believe, then firing paraprofessionals would be the equivalent of taking away the shoes of the students affected and making them run 4 extra laps. I don't know what else to say, but I don't know. What do I know? I'm a student.
Thank you, Brody.
Hi, I'm Lauren Finber. I'm a student at Lacey Township Middle School, and right now I'm speaking on behalf of my fellow peers who require special education. You are taking from people who can't fight back, who don't have voices. If anything, the special education children need teachers more than I or any of my non-special ed peers do. I'm not a parent, clearly, but maybe you guys are, so you should care for your children at the school as if they were truly your own. My special ed peers need their education just as much and maybe even more than I do. They deserve every opportunity that I have. They deserve our respect. These people are genetically set back from birth, and you are putting them back further. I hope you take this into consideration, seeing as it's in your best interest to listen to the people that it affects the most.
Hi, my name is Christine Kroll. I live at 1439 Erie Way. I just have a couple of questions. I understand you're not providing answers tonight, that's fine. But
Let me just say this, we're recording questions, and we're taking everything into consideration. Okay, so even though we may not be able to answer specifically, we're recording the questions. Okay?
Okay. Mr. Giordano, you mentioned that one of your options, I guess, that you offered to the union was for the paras to only get individual coverage. Correct? Is that what you said? Yes. Correct. Okay. I'm just curious as to why only the paras were singled out in that option. I mean, clearly, if you were really looking to save all of the money that was being taken from the district, why did you just single out that one class of employees?
That's a question that's recorded.
Gotcha. My other question would be, if I had a special needs child in this district and now felt that they weren't going to get the direction and supervision and care that they needed, and that I petitioned that they couldn't meet their needs and I would have to go out of district, how much would that cost the district if I said you couldn't meet my child's needs? Okay, my last question would be, and I know I'm not a para, I've never been a para, but I know a lot of friends that are paras and family members, and, you know, I'm not sure that you could pay me enough money to do their job. And you said you cried after one day. Imagine having to go back the next day and the next day and the next day. And then the people that you work for say, you know what, I'm sorry, but we lost money, so we're going to take away part of your salary and your benefits. But come on back, because our students still need your care. We care about our students. Okay? So I know people, they're changing. Imagine, you know, there are students that need their diaper changed. Okay? There are students, they get bit. They go out on, they have, somebody who had tendonitis because a kid pulled her arm. You know, and they should be receiving hazard pay, not getting their benefits taken away. And I guess, and I'm not sure what the plan is for if you do take away the benefits and you think you're going to staff these with hourly workers for a minimum wage, what your plan is when you can't get people to work for that wage in these positions. Because the students will still require paras to be in their classroom. Thank you.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Deirdre Bahujian. A few minutes ago, you just honored my older son, AJ, for his earning his Eagle Scout rank. I wanted to thank you for that. I have another child, Jacob. Jacob requires a one-on-one para, just for about everything that you or I take for granted. He can't get on and off the bus by himself. He can't carry his backpack. He can't get his lunch. He can't write. He can't use the bathroom. And I could go on and on for about 5 minutes. Before first grade, Jacob went through 6 paras. 6. So forgive me if I don't believe you when you tell me that we're going to have the same level of care. How do you expect Jacob and all the other special ed children to be successful as my other child when you are pulling their lifelines and stripping away from the special ed department? It seems to me that balancing your budget is on the backs of the special ed children.
Hello, my name is Erin McDonald, and I'm from Brookdale Park Drive, Orchid River. I have a 10-year-old son in the Cedar Creek LLD program. Mrs. Peck, Mr. Carter, and Mrs. Fasto, the paraprofessional, are amazing. So amazing, I kept him there a second year because the progress was unbelievable. I can honestly say, without Mrs. Fasto, my son would not do as well as he is now. She's caring, intuitive, and well-versed in the LLD program and all its curriculum. She is a very important part of his extraordinary growth. Now, my query is, I saw a posting for a brand new position for supervisor of special ed K to 6. Now, based on past practice, I would assume the salary would be no less than $90,000 with the pension benefits and bonuses, stipends, whatever you'd like to call them. Also, about 2 years ago, there was another new position that was created for a facilities manager. I'm assuming the same thing, high salary, bonuses, all of that stuff. Now, the district had
Can I just
been-
interrupt you for 1 second,
Yeah.
because I do need to clarify something. And I don't mean to interrupt you, I'm going to let you continue. The position that you spoke about is not a new position. It is replacing an existing administrator position. It was the 7 through 12 ELA supervisor. So it is not a new position. I just
There
wanted to
was
point that
only
out.
one supervisor or two for the position? Because now we're going to have two, right?
It's going to be one
Pre-K
pre-K through 6 special ed supervisor. That person.
and then a 7 to 12.
No.
There's only one special ed supervisor
That
for
is
the whole
correct.
district. So the one we
Well,
have now
no,
is.
we have a director of special services,
Okay.
but this,
But the director up to this point took care of all of that, right?
with regard to special education, the director of special services oversees the entire child study team. That is correct.
And there was never a pre-K to 6 position before.
But that position is replacing a position that already exists. We're not replacing that position.
What
It was
position
the
already
7
exists?
through 12 ELA supervisor. We are not replacing that position.
So there already was a supervisor?
There was a supervisor. That person became the supervisor of guidance. We're not replacing the 7 through 12 ELA supervisor. Instead, we've posted for a pre-K through 6 special education supervisor because we recognize that there are many needs to address in that regard. So I just wanted to excuse me, please let me finish. I just wanted to clarify that for you. It is not a new position. So please
Well,
continue.
maybe rather than having this position, we get rid of this one and let the director of special ed handle all of that and put some of this money towards the aides that only earn $20,000 a year. And I'd also like to say I'm a special educator myself, and I know how hard the aides work, and I also know there's a reason kids stay self-contained with the same teacher for several years, because the teacher and the aides need to take almost a year to get to know a child, all their little idiosyncrasies. When this child twists his hair, that means he's going to lose it and he's going to cry. To have people come in and out the door and not be the same people for several years straight, you're doing a serious disservice to these children. Thank you.
Hello, Jessica Lotito from Forked River. I am a parent of a special needs child who has grown up in Lacey. He is now 12 years old. I'm not going to stand up here and tell you how wonderful our powers are, because I know that you guys know that. We all know that. That's not the question. For me, at least, was this the easy way out for the board? Was this the most effortless decision where you didn't have to look into any other avenues and maybe put in a little bit more effort to look into other things? One option I would like to bring up, and I know you guys are not answering questions, but if you can think about it, is the pay-to-play option, or what they call a participation fee. I know it's been kicked around before in the district and it's been turned down, but I think now it's time to really consider it. There are about a dozen other districts in New Jersey that do have this option. Glen Ridge, New Jersey, each parent pays a $200 fee for their kids to participate in extracurricular activities. Haddonfield, New Jersey, each parent pays $100 per kid. Washington Township fee is $100. And Jackson, New Jersey is $25 per sport per session, with a $250 maximum family cap. I think this is something that we need to look into. And will this solve our budget problem? No, it won't. Will it help it? Absolutely. And I think that this direction is the direction that we need to go in, more than just cutting our positions, our powers, our staff, our taxpayers, our community. This is their careers, their jobs. And I think that we need to put a little bit more effort into finding different ways to improve this budget. Nobody's happy with this, obviously, but it's something that we need to deal with. Now, you can argue that parents are not going to be happy with having to pay for their children to do extracurricular activities. Well, the other option is we take them away. So if those are the two options in front of parents, I can assure you that they would take paying a $100 fee per year for their children. If you were to give me the option to get rid of my son's para or pay $100 a year to keep her, guess what my answer would be? I would keep her, and I would pay. Because it's that important to me. So if it's that important to the parents of this town to have their children in sports, which I'm not saying sports are not important, because they absolutely are, but they don't come above education. And right now you're toying with my son's education. Now, trying not to get emotional, but I'm just going to leave you with a personal note. Just human being to human being, not angry, not budgets, not, because we've been meeting with parents over and over again on this, trying to figure out how we can fix this. And my son is 12 years old with autism. He was diagnosed at 2.5. He's grown up in Lacey. He's had the same para, Mrs. B, for about 5 years now. She has actually moved schools with him from Cedar Creek to Mill Pond, and next year she will be going to the middle school with him. And this is coming from a kid, like I said, we don't want to sit here and talk about how wonderful the paras are and how much they do, because everybody in this room knows that. But I think we do need to talk about children with special needs and what their needs are and how they're feeling. And my son, who I can't even get a new mattress for him, or I can't even buy a new car because he's so set on the same thing and the same patterns, that I had a conversation, and I'll leave you with this, and then I'll let someone else talk. I picked him up from school today, and I said, Mommy has to go to a meeting tonight for school. And he said, why? And I said, they're trying to get rid of the paras for our township. And he said, what is a para? And I said, Mrs. B, that's your para. And he said, I don't want Mrs. B to go away. And I said, I know, bud. I said, I don't either, and that's why I'm going to this meeting. And he said to me, they can't fire her. And I said, well, why? What does she do for you? And he said, she helps me. And I said, what does she help you do? She helps me work. So when you're thinking about extracurricular activities and sports and things like that, think about these kids, these same paras that they know and love. They help focus. They keep them focused. They keep them on top of their work. They know their behaviors. If you just bring in I know you're saying we're going to get the same care, but we're not. Because if you bring in a new paraprofessional to my son, it's going to bring him down, and he's going to regress, and so will all the other kids in this district. I can guarantee it. Thank you.
Good evening, Mike Pulick, 3 Niagara Court. I just want to segue back on top of what Ms. Latito was saying. My son was diagnosed at 22 months, and he's autistic. This is a boy who was nonverbal, wasn't potty trained until he was 5. So I applaud you guys for wanting to come into the classroom, but that's a little piece of it, right? That's one window of one day and one little tiny moment in time. We live this every day. My child thrives on routine, as you heard, very similar to that. It takes him a long time to acclimate to anyone, really, to an individual. But he's come so far because of that, right? This is a boy who we thought would never speak, and now we can't shut him up, right? So, and we've all had to fight, and I appreciate that comment, but it shouldn't be, right? We always say the children first. Why does it need to be so excruciating, right? So, just that little insight into my world, the things that we all take for granted, brushing our teeth, combing our hair, putting on our shoes and getting out the door, is a challenge every single day. To the time he gets on the bus, I don't even want to get emotional, but I'm gonna. So I thank them, and we know they're all great. It's all been said. I was a bit encouraged, but yet dismayed at the same time that Ms. Clark, you had said you were going to provide some information regarding let's write some letters and things like that. So that's good. That's a good start. I did read an article though. Toms River has done that already. They have thousands of letters. So my question really is, why are we so late to this party? Why are we so late? They're actually organizing buses. You know, I don't hear any talk about buses. I'm ready. I got vacation time. I'll take it off. Let's go. You know, so, you know, help us. If we're in this together, let's get through this together. Onto the budget and the budget notes. I know you guys aren't going to kind of confirm, dispel, anything like that, but I've gone through that voluminous, and I feel your pain there, Mr. George, on having to compose that. I know there's many subschedules behind it. However, I'd like to know how much co-curricular has been cut in its entirety versus these cuts to special ed. Because really what we're saying are the special education is mandated by law, but sports are not. Co-curriculars are not mandated by law, okay? So that's something I would really be interested in knowing and having an answer to. And I think before we go replacing a track or investing any capital expenditures into things like that, we take a real good hard look at our children who are the most vulnerable. So any vote yes to this budget as its current form would be not only unreasonable, I think it would be unconscionable. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm short. Hello, my name is Marie Ekampora, 120 Nautilus Boulevard. I have 4 children who are no longer children, and we've gone through Lacey Schools, and I just wanted to thank you, Dr. Clark, for mentioning me and my girl, the cast, the crew, the staff. It was a phenomenal performance, as you mentioned. Really hardworking on everybody's behalf. And if it looked very flawless, you would never know that my 21-year-old autistic son was the doorman. And he was a fantastic doorman. And it looked really flawless because behind the scenes at every rehearsal and every night and day was a paraprofessional. Making sure his tuxedo got put on correctly, making sure his costume change went smoothly, making sure he wasn't stimming in the hallway on something he stims on. I don't know, he's 21, so he picked something. It would not have gone, and this wasn't even his paraprofessional, it was a paraprofessional of another student, but that's how these people run. This isn't just, oh, well, this is my child, I'm gonna watch him. No, if there's someone else that needs someone else's kid, they're there for them. They're there for every child. This was not something I asked. All of a sudden she appeared and here's his costume, here's his food, here's what he needs. The play was an amazing experience for a kid that did not talk till he was 3 and a half, just very much like the last speaker. It's because that someone was back there who knew him, who knew when to get him on stage, who knew when to get him into his other costume. You can't buy that. You can't put a price tag on people that know your children and are comfortable with your children. And I just thank you again for talking about the play. And the inclusion of theater is an amazing thing. Kids from all different walks are able to go on stage and be part of this greater experience. And it's because the paraprofessionals are there to make sure that they're included. And I thank you for that. And I hope that we can find an agreement to save these jobs. They're so important. Thank you.
Hi.
you. Good evening. My name is Valerie Russell. I live at 109 Sunrise Boulevard. I'd like to say a few things in support of the paras. Pardon me? Oh. Hello. I'd like to say a few things in support of the paras and the incredible work and very personal time, effort, and care all paras exhibit on a daily basis with these children they care for. I have had the privilege of working with many of them and often have seen firsthand what these people do and how incredible it is. I would never say that one child's needs or rights are less important than any others. So why are you? Why are children that have no choice, have no say or way to choose their life, being penalized for it? And the paras that are willing to go above and beyond for these children, why are they considered expendable? Excuse me. Lost my page. They are not expendable to the kids that depend on them, the kids that trust them, that learn from them, and spend more time of their day and week with them than anyone else. Yet again, it's the little guys, it's the children who pay and go without. These paras are not just their aides, they're their nurses and their caregivers. I have seen firsthand them helping them eat their lunch, wipe their mouths and hands. I've had oxygen tanks on the school bus. Social skills trips, which are crucial in these children's lives. These children deserve to have these wonderful people in their lives. I'm so privileged to know so many faces in this room, and to know that some of my dear friends and colleagues who have children that need these people, and tell me how without them, it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know why children are considered constantly being put, it seems, last above money, and as so many people said, sports are coming before education and caregivers, and I just really felt a strong need as a bus driver. So many of these children that I've worked with for years and years, my goodness, they come on the bus and they hug me because they see me as a familiar bus driver and remember that I played the music for them, and they remember my name, remembered my shoes, or I complimented them on their hair one day. Or it's just amazing what they retain, and that's just with seeing me maybe a couple times a month on the school bus. So I ask you to please consider these children's needs. This is a lifetime that I can't even express to you how important it is that they need to keep these jobs in the school system. Thank you. Let someone else speak.
Hello, Ed Scanlon, Barnegat Pines. I have a comment. I try not to be sarcastic or snarky with it, but I do think it's important to say I think it's insulting to everyone in this room tonight that questions that are being asked won't be answered. I don't think it's really proper that the answer be come one-on-one to your office, Dr. Clark. If we all come tomorrow at 9, are you going to sit there all day long and answer our questions one-on-one?
I will answer every question that
And
comes
your
my way.
secretary will know that anyone walking into the office has immediate access. Because these people want to know that.
Right.
Okay? So over the period of time between now and whenever this budget is finalized, I think that's basically what you're saying, which really is why we have public meetings, so you don't have to do that. And I guess I couldn't keep the sarcasm out of it. I'm very sorry. However, has anyone driven down Lake Sunrise Boulevard and noticed the sign in the window of the White Castle? Hiring now $11 per hour. That's, by the way, more than you're paying your paraprofessionals. I do have a question. I really think that you should be able to answer this one. When are you going to actually vote on the budget? Is it tonight?
No.
There's no vote tonight. Thank you. And tonight, though, when we get to item F, number 1, there were not enough agendas. Most people in this room have no idea what that is. I would request, and the attorney can tell me if this is not allowed, let me know. But I would request that when the board votes, instead of doing its usual grouping, A through F, R through G, whatever, you identify F1 in full, resolution approving the elimination of paraprofessional positions for the year, and have a roll call vote so we can identify exactly who's voting which way. I don't think it would be right, along with everything else you're not doing tonight, to not let us see individually who's voting which way. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kathy Schwartz. I'm a Lacey resident for over 30 years, and I live at 53 Haynes Street, Lonoco. I have an off-topic question for you. About 3 months ago, I got a certified letter from the Lacey Township School District that they are installing lights on the football field. And if I had any questions or concerns about it, to attend all these meetings, et cetera, et cetera. And I really had no problem with that. But I'm just curious, how much are the lights and who's paying for it?
I can answer that. The lights were paid in full by private fundraising of parents.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I would also just like to mention to some of these people in the audience here, I have a name of a lawyer that's really good. Okay. I work in another school district in special ed, and we get clobbered every time we see him. Be careful what your decisions are.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Brandy Rapatsky. I'm from Alpine Street. I spoke a little bit last time when I was here. And since, because I think I mentioned before, not that I would expect anyone to remember, but I'm a math professor at Stockton. So I was really curious to see the budget and see the numbers. And I'm not going to repeat, I did notice some of the same things that were already mentioned, which was that there were lots of cuts made to a lot of disability services. But, and also, and just that I noticed the total there, but also one of my concerns and questions, and I know you can't answer it tonight, but just to put it on record, on page 11, it is a long report, it's 80 pages. On page 11, it lists like reasons why things have increased or things have decreased. And next to total behavioral disabilities, preschool disabilities part-time, preschool disabilities full-time, a couple places, it says due largely to reclassification of students. And I wasn't sure, honestly, what that meant. I also, on page 78, it mentions that you expect a large increase of students, not a large, but you expect an increase of students next year in Lacey schools. And I'm assuming that includes disability students. So they need paras and they need to be covered. So I'm not really sure how that's going to work, to be honest. I'm not sure if you mean that you reclassify them so then they don't get a para. I mean, I honestly am asking the question. I'm not you know. So that was one of my questions. And the other thing is I just wasn't sure how much money this was going to actually save. I understand that it's, you know, about $30,000 for benefits, and so if there's 30, that's $900,000, and that's getting close to the 1.1 million. So I understand that. But if my understanding that if a child is sent out of Lacey because Lacey cannot fulfill their needs, that's about $100,000 per student, and it could even be upward of that. So 9 students leave this town, and we've negated the $900,000 that we've just saved. So that's a legitimate concern of mine. Now, on a personal note, I mentioned last time that I have a kindergartner, Theo, and he currently has a one-on-one para, and today was actually my IEP meeting. And to be honest, I was a little nervous that they were going to try to remove the para, and they didn't, because that's in his IEP, he has to get a para. But what they couldn't tell me is who is going to be. And he has been with this woman since day one, Mrs. Tomasio, who I talked about last time, who is phenomenal with him. He is already having anxiety about first grade. And now on top of it, I have to tell him that I can't promise him Mrs. Tomasi. And this is heartbreaking for me. I mean, and I know for her and for everybody involved, but just on a personal note, they can't even tell me who he's going to be paired up with, let alone the quality. It's certainly not consistency, because it's not the same person. So his whole thing is anxiety, and consistency is number one and key to him. And I know if you're hiring people, you know, without benefits, that we're going to have a huge turnover rate. And my child certainly will not be successful in the classroom if he keeps getting somebody different. So on a personal note, that's my concern. You know, as the mama bear, I'm concerned about my cub and concerned about his success in school. He has done so well this year, and I'm so nervous I'm going to watch him plummet next year, because I don't know who's going to be with him. I don't know how long they're going to be with him. I don't know how many different people are going to be with him. And I just think that's so sad. And to keep hearing consistency out of your mouth, so we still get the same quality and consistency, it's, once again, I don't think that's possible. So thank you.
Good evening. Richard Bidnick, Lake Barnegat Drive. I'd like to thank Dr. Clark and Mr. DeGeorge for the meeting that we had in March. It was very constructive, and I wanted to thank you both for spending the time and answering some of my questions. I know you're saying that you're not answering any questions, so I'm going to ask Mr. DeGeorge to confirm information that was given to me at the meeting that we had in March. The first point was, can you confirm that the new contract that was approved by the board in December, it's $1.5 million is what's going for the benefits, the entire package for the teachers, et cetera?
I'm sorry, just for the teachers, is that whatever I told you is correct?
Correct, okay. The givebacks that you received from the union for negotiations is approximately $500,000?
It's approximately right.
Correct, okay. The difference being a little over $1 million with the 1.5 increase minus the 500,000?
I'm going to rely on your math.
Okay, okay. So the savings of laying off the paraprofessionals is a little over $1 million, correct? Okay, so just so you know, putting the numbers together, you get an idea. Now, I'm looking at this from a completely non-emotional attachment. I do not have any children in the school. I don't have a vested interest in the emotional end of this. I'm looking at this as a numbers person and as a taxpayer. So a different perspective than other people who were here. Okay, so I'm going to do an analogy now. And the analogy is the point that almost anybody will be able to understand what I'm saying. I don't want anyone to get personally offended. I'm basically saying this in the most basic way that I can so that people get the point that I'm trying to bring across. Okay, so the analogy is this. We have a parent. The parent is the school board. We have a spoiled child. That is the ungrateful union. We have the taxpayers, being the grandparents who feel completely helpless because they feel powerless in this entire situation. So, the school board, the parent, goes into negotiations with the union, the child. The child, who is spoiled, makes all of these demands, and the unfit parent caves in, knowing that by caving in, they could not afford it, but to get the spoiled child off their backs, they just give in. The taxpayer, the grandparent, is shocked that their child, the parent, cannot control their child, but feels totally powerless to do anything about it, especially when the unfit parent goes to the grandparent to ask for money to pay for it. And everyone dislikes a spoiled brat child who is ungrateful because it feels it's entitled. This is exactly what is going on here, folks, at the Lacey School District. Spoiled children are not born. They are produced. A contract was negotiated fully knowing it was unaffordable. They still went ahead and voted for it anyway. The ramifications of this decision are now apparent for everyone to see. Any school board member who voted for such a contract is not only fiscally irresponsible, they should be held accountable for their actions. I, as a taxpayer, I am appalled, not because the decision that was made by the administration to lay off employees. That is the right of any employer, but about the disingenuousness that I have seen on display during this whole process. This school district was run on a much leaner budget 10 years ago and was rated actually much higher than it is now. This proves the thought that putting more money into education is like throwing it out the window, especially if there are no checks and balances in play. In 2010, the budget was $65 million. Today, it is almost $78 million. That's a $1,433,000 increase per year. I do wholeheartedly support raises for employees who are excellent in their work. I feel the American way is to be rewarded for their hard work, determination, and drive. But to give out raises to those who are not performing at their best is beyond disgraceful. It's totally fiscally irresponsible, especially with taxpayers' monies. Those individuals living from paycheck to paycheck and the elderly who have to make choices about their medications, health insurance, food, and taxes and the like are the ones that I really truly feel for. Things happen for a reason, folks. They just don't happen. I hope all of you understand better the realities of what has been taking place here. History does seem to repeat itself, though, especially at this school district. In 2016, we went through a very similar reduction in force when all non-tenured staff received layoff notices because of the new contract. Also, for everyone's knowledge, there currently are 131 classes in the high school that have 15 or less students in them. These are types of class numbers you would see in a private school, not a public one. Anything less than 20 is something that needs to be addressed, especially with the financial crisis the school district now faces itself with, especially in the ensuing years. I am chair of the Lacey Citizens for Responsible Government. Please check out our Facebook page, like it for updates about things that are happening in Lacey and statewide that affect all of us. And thank you for your time.
comments?
Good evening. My name is Renee Stracuzzi, 407 Elwood Street. I spoke last month at the board meeting regarding my daughter who's in kindergarten and requires a one-on-one due to medical needs. Since the last board meeting, we got the news that her school nurse is retiring. And with the things up in the air, with her para being hired back or not being hired back, that's a huge concern for me. We're back to square one where no one would be able to care for her. She's a type 1 diabetic and she's not able to take care of her needs at 6 years old. It's basically a very complex disease and requires, her one-on-one para who acts like her nurse and has basically trained the nurse at the school she's at now. Because my daughter's para has been with her since preschool, she knows her very well. She knows her symptoms. She checks her blood sugar. We said all this last month, but I just want to say again, this is a very complex issue, and she's not replaceable. You can't just, put somebody there and say, okay, you take care of a diabetic. You have to understand the disease and know the responsibility that you have. So, Dr. Clark, I'd like to ask you, what was the information you found out about how the seniority was going to be handled? Because I think you mentioned something about talking to the labor lawyer. You weren't sure how things looked last month, so from my perspective, I just want to,
If I could answer that.
Sure.
The legal advice here is that we can't answer that question at this time. We're talking about complicated issues with seniority and contracts and laws, and there's potential of legal actions. So my advice to the board is not to speak about that at this time, given the circumstances that are before us.
Would that be able to be answered at a private meeting if I called and made an appointment?
I would have to give the same advice given the current state, because again, when you're talking about contractual matters and rights and obligations, it gets complicated, especially when you have a union involved and a board involved.
Okay, I mean, I understand that, but at the same sense, we have to have an aid secured for my daughter before she enters first grade. And I need to know this before the school year is over. And I know other parents have spoken, said, okay, yeah, we're going to get a one-on-one. My daughter has a one-on-one. We're going to get one next year, but no one will just do. And I can't put my kid's life at stake with some person making $10 an hour that doesn't give a crap and makes no benefits. So, I mean, come on. What kind of care is she going to get?
So, Mr. Tracuzzi, I did write down your comments, and like every other comment that was made, all of everything that was said tonight is going to be taken into consideration.
Now, being that we're getting a new nurse, who knows? I mean, this past year when she started kindergarten, I didn't get to meet the nurse until the day before school started. And I had an hour with her. And the only reason I was okay with that is because I knew her para was going to be there. And if I don't know that, then my daughter cannot attend school because there's a lot of training involved and whatnot. So this is something that, definitely needs to be worked out before the school year. I will not sit around all summer wondering who's going to take care of my kid and get a phone call like 2 days before school starts because, the nurse is not available or we don't know who the aide is, or, I can't, as a parent of a child with a life-threatening illness, I can't relax like that. That'll cause me anxiety, and my kid gets anxiety. She gets anxiety as it is, and if she has somebody with her that doesn't know anything, my kid will know, and, what does that do to her blood sugar? High, low, and our whole goal is to have someone who knows what they're doing to keep her at a good level so she can function. She can't learn if she's low or high, or she can't. Their brains don't function at a regular, normal person if your blood sugar is low or high. So I just want to say a little bit about, the staff here. They take care of our children at school, but they're not just caregivers. They are the individuals that walk the tightrope, and which in this case is diabetes. I know other people have, kids with medical issues, and they are the ones who fight this battle alongside our children. They are the ones who not only go above and beyond, but are the difference between life and death to my child. Our peace of mind is nothing when it comes to the peace of mind of our children who fight a disease they didn't ask for, a disease that only trained and knowledgeable staff fully understand. They are the ones who give our kids the peace of mind to excel in school without fear, judgment, and heartache. They handle their physical needs so their educational needs can be met. And I just want to ask the audience one question, and then I'll be done. Can I see a show of hands who would take this position for $10 an hour? No benefits? I wanted to ask if anyone here would take this job, take care of my diabetic child for $10 an hour and no benefits. Okay, so the aide that she has is willing to do this, and not many people would. If you spend one day with me, you'd run for the hills. I have no choice. I'm her mother. I have to take care of her. It's been 4 years that I've been dealing with this battle, and it'll never go away. There's no cure. But there is a cure for this. You have to fix this. I mean, it's not going away. I'm not going away. I mean, this is, a serious situation, and I want an answer. I want a meeting. I want clarification. I want to know when the aides are going to get notice of who's being hired back, who isn't, who's going to fill the place of my daughter's aide if she's not coming back. So, do you understand where I'm coming from?
I do. We all do. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Ann Smith, Orchid River. I don't work here. I live here. I'm a taxpayer. I did work for Lacey Township for a school district for 11 years as a para. I switched because I couldn't survive on the pay. I now work for Central Regional, which took me in as double. Treat me like a teacher's assistant. Treat me with utmost respect, okay? And I bring a lot to the table, and they respect that. I am sick at what I'm seeing my fellow peers and my ex-workmates go through. On the receiving end of every year, wondering whether you're going to get pink slipped or am I going to make the cut, these people have worked in your district for so long on a barely a surviving wage, okay? Because they love what they do, and for that little brass nugget at the end of maybe having a benefit after 25 years. And now what's going to happen to these people? Where did, say, someone 24 years in, where did that time go? What do you think, they're going to start somewhere else in corporate? No. They were in this public circuit. They could have made triple quadruple the amount of money. But they did it because it's what they wanted to do for the love of what the children and for their security. You are taking their security away from them. You are literally ruining their lives. Now, we heard from quite a number of people how you're ruining the lives of the children, especially the special needs children, okay? But you also have to see the other side, the families that you're destroying. I came here tonight with a simple question, one, and you people wasted my time. It is my father's 80th birthday. My husband lost a cousin, okay? I have people going to offer condolences. I have other family members rallying to have an 80th dinner with my father. So I could be here to get an answer that will make me feel better as I watch my friends suffer, okay? And what do I get? Stonewalling behind a lawyer. That is not fair, and it is morally unacceptable. I don't understand, and I can't wait to see this vote if you do it in front of us, how you can get a number of human beings to agree upon this. It is unconscionable to me. And I will just leave you with this. In my 22 years as a para, okay, I have a lot of credits. I have over 450 CEUs that Lacey Township District started, okay? I work with teachers and observe them, okay? I want to see what you think you're going to get when you put in a classroom somebody off the street, hopefully with a background check, and then turn around and expect them to understand differentiated instruction, okay, the Baker method. These people are going to look at you and laugh. They're going to take your money and run. They aren't going to do what needs to be done for the students. It has taken me 22 years to gain what I have. And you know what? It's priceless. And you're throwing it away. You're throwing it away. But my question tonight was to you, and you know what? Miss Clark, you came out and threw it back at us. What are you people going to do to rally against the governor? No, lady, what are you going to do? It is not these people's job. The financial responsibility lays on the board's shoulder, okay? You need to have a backup plan. I can rest easy that I know my super is taking care of us. He is 20 steps ahead. He's got things in motion. He's fiscally prudent. I don't like every decision he makes, but I know he has our backs. What are you doing? What are you doing? How could it have gotten to this position? I can tell you how it got to this position. You were looked over when you were next in line, spent money looking for someone else, and look what they got. You know, this is history, okay? But this money is just going, and it's not being handled correctly. Shame on you. Shame on you. And now you're going to take it out on my friends and your students. And I will just leave you with the fact that I feel that if somebody has a vested union, and I know you don't like that word, but it's their interest, okay? They're vested. You need to buy them out. You need to buy them out. You pink slip them. Listen, we talked before about the Pledge of Allegiance. Now I'll leave you with this. Schools were founded to teach. What lesson are you teaching? That people are disposable commodities? How in good conscience can you stand up there and plot to hurt people? It's a knee-jerk reaction what you're doing. You're taking the easy way out. You need to go home, and you need to examine your heart, and you need to do the right thing, and that's it.
Good evening. Tom Kroll, Erie Way, Forked River. I've been a township resident for nearly 20 years and on the verge of having my second child graduate in about 6 weeks. So very well attuned to the school system, the district, and I could not say anything better than the parents and the professionals that are here. And I won't even call them paraprofessionals because there's nothing para about it. They're professionals. But I do understand the situation that the board has been put in. Our township agreed to build or have built apartment buildings where there is no school tax being levied on those buildings and those people that live there. So we've got an influx of people who've come in without having to pay for school tax. On the other hand, you're getting cut by the state. So it does put you in a difficult position. But what we do year in, year out, every year at the same time, we're trying to patch these gaping holes with Band-Aids. And there's no long-range planning here for how we're going to fix this budget mess. And you know, everyone on this board has run for the board. It's not like you got selected and just fell into it, or you didn't want to be here. These are difficult decisions, okay? And it takes difficult choices. This is an easy way out on a certain level because you can pick on one area of the school, and quite frankly, I don't get it because they are the least paid. And I understand you've got some issues from a union standpoint that have to be navigated, but you're taking it out on not only the most vulnerable students, but the employees who really earn the least in this district. So it's kind of silly from that respect. And I don't know if it means going back to, and I know it'll cost more money, but to have elections in April so we can get away from the 2% cap because we're bound by a 2% cap with November elections, and then state your case to the electorate and try to earn a higher, and it's not easy, but a higher tax if necessary. And if the quite frankly, if the voters turn it down, then it's up to the township committee to determine what the appropriate number will be. With the fact that this is a township committee who, you know, also puts you in a position where you've got fewer tax dollars coming in because of the apartments they've allowed to come in with no tax dollars. So again, these are not easy decisions, but I really think that you guys need to go back, dedicate some time, figure out another way to do this. I don't say sharpen your pencils, but that's a silly statement. You have to figure out a different way because to take the money from these kids and these people who give their time and their life to these children and these families is just wrong. So I urge you, you ran for the board to make decisions and to make this school better, make all these schools better. Go back and do the job you were elected to do.
Good evening, Michael Ryan, President of the Lacey Township Education Association. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, from what you heard this evening from these poignant, emotional, and logical appeals from staff, parents, students, with regards to this proposed budget in its current form, it does not serve the needs of the community, most importantly, the students. As a board member and elected official, you serve the hands of the community and our students and the long-term effects this budget would have on our students. I implore you to re-examine what has been proposed and find cuts elsewhere. I've had the opportunity today to sit down with some board leadership and propose some possible cuts. I look forward to sitting down with Mr. George later this week and also going over those cuts in a little bit more detail. There were a lot of community members that were here, parents and staff, and they talked about how this budget affects them. More recently, in the last month and a half, I've spent many hours reaching out to township committee folk, our senator, our mayor in town, and had some very interesting conversations. When I started in Lacey, the rapport between this township committee and this school board was a great one. And over the years, that relationship has kind of dwindled. There was encouraging news, however, when I talked to the township committee, that there is a relationship that is being built. I talked to one of our senators today about possible legislation change to the S2. I am glad to hear that currently the district is reaching out to parents about letter writing and getting involved. However, again, I feel it's a little late, but we're still here and we're still willing to work. I don't see this just as a problem or a labor dispute between the LTEA and the Board of Education. I see this as a community problem. Currently, our power plant is closing down, which is our largest employer in this town. The school district is our second largest employer. We've lost our cafeteria staff, we lost health aides, and now we're looking to lose a large percentage of our paraprofessionals. What's next? Bus drivers, custodians. You've heard many people up here talk about how Lacey is a community. And this isn't just something that affects our school. This is something that affects our community and our county. If you look down to the audience tonight, you saw other local organizations that were out here that came in support because they know the writing is on the wall, not just here, but everywhere else. I remember a board member a few years ago that said, we don't have to do what everybody else does. We're Lacey. And that was the pride of Lacey, the legacy, the tradition that we do things different. I implore you to look at this budget. There are things that can be done elsewhere to save these jobs. The opportunity is on you. I've heard board members say, well, we don't have the power. You do. You literally sit up there controlling people's lives. That's an awesome responsibility. I know it might keep some of you up at night. It keeps me up at night. But you have the power to make those changes necessary to keep these staff cuts from going through. So I encourage you, work with us, listen to us, listen to the people in the community. You just don't represent, the board up there. You represent the people that are here at this mic, the taxpayers, the parents, the students. So please, we look forward to working with you and look to make these cuts elsewhere. Thank you.
So I don't see any more public comment. We're going to close the floor for public comment. We are going to take a short recess, take a break, and then come back. Okay? Do I have to vote on that, or can we just take a short recess?